My hair not even done. I'm not even taking care of my hair right now. That's not cool.
We live right now, y'all.
We live right now?
Yes, sir. Live. Live, shorty. And we was just talking about how Renegade Lee gonna let me hold $500.
Hold on, first. I gotta go to. I'm staying on the phone, but I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta do real quick.
Yo, about to take a shit on stream.
Huh?
Yo, about to take a shit on stream.
Shit on stream.
Alright.
Hold on. You won't hear a thing. I promise. I promise you won't hear a thing. What, it got strawberries in it?
You want some strawberries?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind some strawberries. I want some shrimp too. I'm gonna get some more shrimp later. That shrimp was bomb as fuck yesterday. Yeah, I'll put like 600-700. Hey Chris, so how much you use? Hold on, wait a minute.
Rolo was so triggered. I was just dying. I think when I show up on episodes of people like this, like I just want to like go hard. When you're actually talking to somebody that's not like afraid to scream at you or isn't gonna get kicked off of a show, like what does your conversation look like? And I feel like people like Rolo thrive on just like shitting on people that are like either young or shy or quiet or won't do anything. A high value cuck. He's so mad, dude. This guy's gonna be tweeting all day about this. Oh, Rolo blocked Sneeko on Twitter.
Who the hell are you?
Who defines the value?
Okay, guys.
Red pill won't survive Islam because they're wholly and fundamentally incompatible. And you saw that with Sneeko versus Fresh and Fit. The conversations are so like in their own bubbles right now that when people try to step outside of their bubbles and have those conversations, it's agonizing.
It was a really good example of like what happens when you like in group so hard, you forget that an out group even exists.
Yeah.
And you like circle jerk yourself.
How'd you feel like your Fresh and Fit performance?
I think I was really combative in the second half. I'm just like super over like a lot of the red pill shit. I think I fought on like every point. I was just getting triggered by everything.
Yeah, the lawyer girl getting kicked off, bro. I thought so much about that.
I just value my time. I have to go home. So
Go
there
home
are
right now.
times.
Just go home right now. Just go home right now. Get out of here.
All right, Queen.
Just go home right now.
All right. Well, bye
I
everyone. It was nice
I
to
don't know
meet
what
you.
you think this is. Like, this is our shit. Like, you're not gonna come in here and be like, I'm not gonna waste my time. Then get out of here.
I feel like we went back and forth on this point.
Yeah,
I don't know what
literally
I'm
it's 3 hours.
This is an opportunity for you, bro. Like, let's get out of here.
Red pill video now.
But she was polite generally the whole time. She was very well spoken the whole time.
I said I put.
I think her explanation in the
red
end
pill.
made sense. She didn't want to loop on the same topic that already looped back and forth on the entire time. Did you talk about it off air? Yeah, we did a little bit of the restaurant. Yeah, I said it was bullshit. I think it was pretty obvious she shouldn't have been kicked off. Yeah. Destiny, she said it's late. I don't want to waste time. Why wouldn't he just kick at that point? They were at the end of the show. When she said it was late, she didn't want to waste time. She probably meant she didn't want to spend 30 minutes going back and forth on the same topic. Like,
That's not.
I will consistently say though, it's funny how wrong you guys are about everything. It's now I'm starting to wonder if I should just never trust you guys. So like for instance, it's so funny. A lot of you guys are saying, oh, maybe Destiny was right about Sneeko and that he can change, which was true. But then a lot of you guys are saying like Sneeko's picked up a lot of stuff from Steven.
what? Now
That's
you back-
not true.
now you ready
The
to
reason why
call it?
Sneeko has switched a lot of his positions and thinks the red pill shit is cringe is because of his Islam arc, not because he's picking up progressive values from me, which I think is really funny that a lot of you f***ing retards I can't understand. But yeah, I don't know. Jesus.
Crazy day yesterday.
All right. What about
Charlie
you?
Richard Sword and Wizard of Red Pill Romo. What a day.
Dude, Rolo was so triggered. I was just dying. Was sitting there watching him seethe so hard. Like I knew in his head he was thinking about like all the videos that he wanted to make on this. How ass mad he was getting over that appearance. I don't know why he came there. I'm trying to think of like what was he thinking? What was his strategy? Because he clearly is like not designed for these environments. You wanna know a problem I have? I don't know if it's a problem or if it's like a virtue. I'm not sure. One thing I noticed, sometimes it's to my benefit, sometimes to my detriment. I have a really hard time watching people like getting dogpiled, like watching like people that are either underdogs or people that like aren't properly equipped, like getting shit on by somebody that's way above their level. I think that triggers the fuck out of me. So when I see, so I think I have a lot of resentment that I harbor for Rolo, because like when I see, so like on that whatever podcast, when I see a bunch of guys that are like in their 30s or some shit, and they're just like shitting on like all these like younger like 20-year-old girls, like I see it, I'm like, this is just like, it's so cringe. Like, can't you do any better than this? Like these are the people that you're choosing to like do your diatribes on and everything. So then I think when I show up on episodes of people like this, like I just want to like go hard, because like, okay, well, like when you're actually talking to somebody that's not like afraid to scream at you or isn't gonna get kicked off of a show, like what does your conversation look like? And I feel like people like Rolo thrive on just like shitting on people that are like either young or shy or quiet or won't do anything. But it's like, bro, the grand wizard of the red pill, Dumbledore, he was so fucking mad. I that French girl last night too. Yeah, I feel so bad for her. She was like really well spoken and like pretty intelligent and everything too, but like English was her second language. Like she was very French. And so like you could definitely tell that like the language part was somewhat of a struggle for her. So it was kind of sad that, yeah, it was like all memes and shit, like shitting on her, interrupting her and cutting her off. It's like, bro, like damn, give this girl a break. Yeah, and I tried to say that once, but I think I got cut off. But I think I literally said that. I was like, bro, this girl was in an 8-year relationship. It sounds like she has more relationship experience than probably anybody else on this podcast. Like she has the longest relationship of anybody else on this podcast. Like, but everybody's just shitting on her.
Yeah. 2. Okay. I would give him a 9.
Okay, what is he over there?
I would give him a 10 because he invited me.
All right, so again, you sound like a stupid ass bitch.
Nothing. He ain't just. You sound like.
Well, no, she called him a 2.
Why you rated me a 2? Because we're not going off our interactions. We're going off beauty.
I don't like light skinned niggas.
I don't give a. He's light skinned just like me, and you just gave him a 9. You gave me a 2. You only gave me a 2 because of the whole interaction that we've been having, right? So do me a favor, get the up and get the out.
Thank you.
Yeah, get out.
I say Rolo's tweets. They're just all like cope shit afterwards.
No, Myron. Okay, I'm not asking you like in terms of the debate. You call yourself the godfather of the red pill. You
call myself the godfather of the manosphere, okay? Other people have called me that.
Okay, great. That's very.
Do you understand?
Okay, so as
godfather or grandfather of the man? Which one is it?
Whatever it is, the old guy of the manosphere. What is your definition of high value man? This is the #1 talked about topic on all of these shows. So I want to get a clear definition from you. What is it?
You tell again. It depends on the person. It depends on the culture. It depends.
So cringe. I get what he was saying though. He was basically saying that the notion of high value men is dependent on your environment. I think that you would agree with that. No. There are some like objective markers that we can say, or like rather, let's think about it this way. Okay, in some ways it's like economics. Value usually implies some sort of like exchange rate or trade value. That's typically, or some use value, right? I'm pretty sure there's like a whole Marxist thing on these 3 different types of values or whatever. It's been a long time since I gleaned that Capital book, okay? But like, there are certain ways that we can talk about value. So like value might be like something that is like life saving. So like water has some level of value to it. We need it to survive. Value might be something that people trade for. So like a service that somebody uses, like I'll trade, some dollars for whatever. Or there might be a natural resource. There's value because you can use it to create other goods, right? When we talk about value in people, generally what we're talking about are traits that are highly desirable that people usually want to be near. In like the broadest sense. If he would have at least said that, I'm like, okay, we can work with that, right? In the broadest sense, that's what we mean when we say value, right? Usually you possess some combination of traits that people really want to be near. So for men, it might be attraction, charisma, business success, career, money, right? Maybe, right? Like roughly speaking, we can say like, that's a high value man. For him to have nothing is just wild. I'm sorry. You expect all the homophobia after sneaking into the Yeah, the bi question is always going to be on for normie people, and this scene is always going to be that. It's just to prove that women don't want to date a bi guy or whatever. Which, by the way, isn't even necessarily true, which I could definitely tell when we went to dinner afterwards. But regardless, to reiterate, the reason why women tend to stay away from bisexual or gay guys, I'm like 99% sure of this, based on the experience I've had now. The reason why women tend to stay away from guys that they perceive as bi or gay is because generally the association is bi or gay dudes are very effeminate. That's like generally the thing, and the reality is whether you like it or not, women tend to not like effeminate guys. So when women think of men that are bi, they usually think of a guy that is basically acting gay. I think I pointed out something hypocritical later. I think everything else is a cope. Like, I think one woman said something like, oh no, but like, I think, was it Angie who was like, oh no, well I wouldn't want to worry about STDs. But then later on, she was like, I'd be okay with my boyfriend stepping on other girls. Like, wait, so do you care about STDs or not? Like, also like AIDS is not like a thing, I don't think in the United States that much anymore. Like, it's not like we're not like in the was the AIDS epidemic, was that the 90s? 80s? Yeah. What about Xena seething? Oh, that was hilarious. Holy shit. We saw the whole breakdown of the one-sided open relationships. Yeah, Strand check was cool. You should ask her how much time. Yeah, we talked for quite a bit afterwards. I think she might, or at least she DM me on Instagram and might set something up because she wanted to argue about shit. So he said I got personal shit on you. You want to shut up? Okay, it's really difficult to argue. How do I say this? So something that was especially frustrating about that podcast is that, like, I think I can say this because they were all joking about it. It's pretty obvious. 2 of the girls on that show were dating 2 of the guys on that show, which puts me in a really awkward spot because on that show, and I think I generally had most of the girls with me on almost every topic, which was hard because anytime I ask a question, how many girls are there? Was it 7 or 8 girls? 2 of them were guaranteed to be against me every single time because they were dating other guys on the show. So it's like, so if even one other girl said against me, well, now it looks like almost half the panel as opposed to every single thing I'm saying, which is like a lot of shit to fight. It's really, that's like an uphill battle for me to fight against, basically. If like 2 girls are guaranteed to be against me. But then the thing that's frustrating is that like they're kind of like giggly and under wraps about it. Like if I bring on Melina, everything about our relationship is going to be fair game to basically debate about. Like, oh, aren't you in it open? Aren't you cuck? Blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, but like I can't bring up anything about like any of the girls you're dating because it's like kind of hush hush, kind of mimi, kind of quiet. It's like, well, that puts me like in a weird spot. Like because now like Xena, for instance, can like make weird comments about me or make fun of me or whatever. It's like I can't really go in on her because I don't know. That's kind of frustrating, you know. Yeah. You're wrong about the bi thing. Girls don't mess with bi guys in case he might sleep with other guys. I see as many guy friends. The same way girls don't like to be being friends with guys. No, I don't. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, and I don't think so. This is like a personal theory that I have, and I would honestly, God, I would just never trust a guy to be honest about it. But in my head, I'm almost positive that if you had a girl and she dumped you, and you found out that she dumped you because she was a lesbian and she wanted to date another girl, I actually think it would be like 80% less as bad as if she dumped you to be with another guy. I'm almost positive that. I don't think any guys will admit it.
Who was surprised by that?
I don't think so. Because I think when people dump people and they start getting into other relationships, the first thing people do is they compare themselves to the person's new partner. Oh, that guy's better than me. Oh, that guy must be more handsome than me. He's taller than me. He makes more money than me, blah, 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 blah. But if it's a girl, or if it's a guy in the case of like a bi girl thing, it's very easy to be like, oh, well, fuck it. Like, I can't compete. It's a guy. I'm a girl. I can't. What am I supposed to do? I can't compete with that. Like, that's generally how I feel about it. But I mean, like, obviously it's hard to.
Why does it keep saying?
I don't know how you can ever 100% verify that or anything, but girls don't like effeminate men. What about the Timothy Chalamets or the K-pop dudes? Female gays, you know. I haven't like formalized this yet, but I've thought about it. I actually talked about this a bit last night. There's some. I don't know exactly how you'd quantify this or what it is, but there's like a combination of, for men, like the ultimate, like I think like the ultimate form of like attraction is some combination of feminine and masculine traits. When a guy is like very masculine or has a lot of masculine traits, whatever feminine traits he has are going to be like 1,000,000 times more attractive. But it can't just be feminine. If you're just an effeminate man, I don't think women are into that as much. But if you're a relatively masculine man and you have some feminine traits, those feminine traits will stand out a lot, right? Like James Bond being like ultra masculine is very hot. James Bond like cuddling like a kid or a puppy would also be like insanely attractive. There's the two traits play off of each other in a way. But I don't know exactly how you'd measure it or how you figure it out. But I've seen it described as masculine but nurturing, masculine but caring enough to be a good father. Yeah, maybe, or maybe it's like a masculinized version of some.
You can hit it one time and know
there's some formula there, but.
Like, what are you talking? Like, yo, when
Is
people
the frame
get washed
thing
on
new?
their shit,
He used
they
to a lot
always got
yesterday
all
in
this
Farah's River
excuses and
podcast.
shit.
Yeah, I didn't even hear it in Farah's podcast. I don't know what the frame
The
shit
only
is or where
person
the
that
fuck
be
that
taking
shit
they
has come
L's
from, or maybe if it's a new thing, and I actually have no
Big Sean. He taking
idea.
L's
I don't know. Myron's been using the frame thing for a while.
He's
Oh,
like,
okay,
yeah, I
maybe this
was
is the first
thinking
time I've
about
heard
rewriting
it.
the
Do you think when
verse,
Sneeko doesn't
then I
defend you when
was
it comes to
like,
stuff
nah,
around
real
people showing a relationship when he knows how it is he being disingenuous? I mean, it's probably a soft spot for him because he doesn't want to get like caught up in all the cuck shit, basically.
I normally don't watch you, and I usually identify with the red pill.
really
Watching you
sound
dunk
like
on the
I'll
father
be-
of red pill was so eye-opening.
No, nobody thought that.
Where's that? Somebody link it to me.
Dirt, we rock with you, but no.
They were gaslighting her when she was like,
just
yeah, I
have to hear it
fantasize.
one time.
And they were like, oh,
You don't even have to
so you want
listen
to fuck
to
other
it.
men.
You listen
And no,
to
I
it.
don't. It's just
You
fantasy,
could just
yeah.
skim it. Like,
That
and be in
means
the
you want
back
to.
seat listening and be like, yeah, his shit sound crazy compared to
true.
Dirt's.
Dylan and Ira caught DMCA's for it. Oh, never
Gina
mind.
getting jealous of the French girl at the end of the show was pure gold joy.
The funny thing was how many people in the comment section thought that it was just a troll at the end. Because Xena probably realized that she was like,
He's just
their
a
whole
better
arguments up by getting that
overall
upset
rapper
over
in
it.
every aspect of rapping.
But then everybody in the comments, I think, in the YouTube video, they were like, oh,
Doing
look,
Sneeko teaming up
Xena was
against
just
the RP
joking the
final
whole
boss.
time.
Sold me, my man. Happy to be here. So crazy that the archers have been able to concretely define a high-value man until last night's goal.
Because alright, think about it, right? He raps, so maybe he's confused.
Xena said she's a fan of you? I think she probably just likes fighting with me, but
Drake and him have similar.
we argued
the
at dinner
thing is
whether or not
this,
she was
right?
brainwashed.
Drake
I said I think
and
she
him,
is.
They make songs together a lot.
The
So he
high
might
value
look
cuck.
at
He's
Drake
so
that
mad,
way
dude. This
too,
guy's gonna
like
be
a
tweeting all day
lyrical
about
rapper.
this.
But I will argue
Alina
that
linked
Drake
this.
don't be washing him on his stuff. But it's also
Okay, the
in
bridge
my
is
opinion,
haphazardly
Floyd Mayweather
constructed right
type
now,
of
but
thing.
highly flammable. Okay.
That's what I was about to say. He be carrying it. Like, he be carrying it. You know how Floyd, he'll carry you through the rounds and shit? That's the same with, that's that with,
Why?
with
It's
Drake,
not even-
but you can't expect that from J. Cole. J. Cole not your friend, nigga.
Well.
Cole could have chose
Okay.
to rap like how he did on Jodeci back. Cole don't always go off. I mean, he could have chosen.
Johnson, why are you naked? Because my t-shirt sucks. Look at Gibson. He's wearing a true classic tee. It fits him tight in all the right places, but leaves the perfect amount of room in the front. God, I hate that guy. He looks so damn good in that
My
shirt.
homeboy
He basically
Sean,
do
he
whatever
was
the hell
like,
he wants.
man, nobody trying to hear that kumbaya
Gibson!
shit.
Yeah, boss. You're a god.
Who the hell are you?
Who defines the value?
Okay, guys, this is productive. This is not.
I really want this question answered. Who defines the value? Because you know what? Your religion, the Bible. Okay, so your interpretation of the Bible. Let me just get this. Your interpretation of the Bible could be that this is a high value, but it may not be the same interpretation that I interpret it. Why do you think that the church is divided in how many different denominations? Y'all can't get it on the same page. So then if they all can't get on the same page, how can they determine what the value is?
Because even so that's an interesting point because even this panel isn't on the same page. Like you two, which are like more from this way, but from like the conservative side, like you're Bryson, you're Christian, right? Right?
Yes, but I want to respond.
Wait, no, but I'm saying.
Are you Catholic or are you?
Nick's
This
Catholic.
is the guy that said clouds were alive. I remember.
So those are because you guys wait.
Now at least we got to that part of the conversation.
Wait, so I'm just guys. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like from what I know, because about Christian and Catholic, it's like you have to be baptized in order to go to like heaven if you're a Christian, right? Do you believe that?
In different.
Wait, sorry, hold on.
In different denominations.
Wait. So I just want to know: is that true or is that true or false? But you guys don't count like infant baptism, right?
No,
Bryson or me?
No, Bryson. I'm asking. Like this is just what I understand. Okay, wait. I just want to know if I'm right or I'm wrong. Like if you get baptized as a baby, it like doesn't count in Christianity.
It depends on what denomination you are.
For you, I'm asking you.
Oh, for me, I don't believe in infant baptism because you can't sin. You can't sin.
Okay, but you need. Okay. So
I thought you're born into sin.
I'm
just kidding. Sorry.
But so you believe that like if you were baptized as a baby, in general, you can't get into heaven because you need to be baptized to get to heaven, right?
Let me repeat your question.
Like you need to be baptized. Okay, in order to get into heaven, you need to be baptized, right?
Well, about Jesus says maybe born
Okay,
again.
okay, I just want a yes or no. Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so
Give me the scripture.
okay, okay, I just
And that
It's not a no. It was a yes. You would just
okay. I'm just trying to.
You want to answer
I'm
directly.
just okay. So yes, you need
answered with the Bible.
Wait, guys, wait, Jesus. So I'm saying like, and so even on this panel, then Nick or he hypothetically is Catholic, and if he was baptized as a baby, your definitions of the high value men would be different because the moral, spiritual, like the same people wouldn't get into heaven, right?
No, no.
Okay, tell me.
What is your contention? I'm confused. You're saying that because
I'm
there's
trying to respond to
denominations. She's saying that there's no type of university within Christian.
Kick just teased a potential KickCon event. It's the same location as TwitchCon 2023. Holy shit. No shot, dude.
Christianity.
Yes, it is.
So no, there's not, because you have all these different denominations. And just like she said, if you're Catholic and you can get baptized as an infant, and that counts as your salvation. Or you can just say your rosary before you die and you go into heaven.
So let me explain to y'all. I think once again it's a misconception. I don't know if it's due to sort of like ignorance about the differences between denominations and things of that nature. A lot of the differences are theological. We all view sin as sin. So everything Nick viewed.
No, I gotta stop you right there, because literally the Catholics use a whole different translation of the Bible. They use different books.
What are you talking about?
It's true.
Wait, okay,
It's true.
Okay, so instead of interrupting me, let me inform you real quick, please. Don't stop me this time, just stop. The difference is simple. You said the Ten Commandments are different. No, they're just numbered differently. Secondly, you claim
they split the one into two. Come on.
But they use a whole different Bible.
What's considered a sin amongst Catholics, because by the way, if you don't know, let me give you a history lesson. They use the Old Testament and the New Testament, just like any Protestant.
Okay, this is boring. I don't know why. Oh, Rello blocked Sneeko on Twitter. God damn, dude. I can't believe he got bodied so fucking hard.
Do you really think he would do a show with me and Sneeko?
So we'll get on here tonight, too.
Why do you think he's going on his TradCon arc?
Because of the Islam shit.
Do you think he actually cares about the Islam shit?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I guess if I don't talk to him that much personally, so it's hard for me to know. But it could be any number of things. The red pill stuff will die immediately if you start talking to women. But you have to get to women. You have to get to women that are outside of the ultra. I hate to use this word, I'm sorry, but outside of the ultra red pill pick me space. Because if you talk to women in the red pill pick me space, the red pill stuff seems really good. You'll find women that'll unironically be on that, like, oh yeah, I love Andrew Tate shit. But if you get out of that immediate circle, nothing will dissuade you from red pill faster than talking to real life women that will probably tell you that that's like the biggest red flag shit in the world. That nobody's looking for a guy that acts like that at all. And some of the things he was saying on that show made me sound like he was talking to a few more real women. That like when you talk to a woman outside of Miami Beach and you ask her what she's looking for in a man, they're not saying like good clothes, fast cars, lots of money. Like they're not usually saying things like that. It's usually more personality related. So that might have been some things. And then there is
4 wives.
Yeah, there is going to be a lot of cognitive dissonance in your brain trying to make red pill work with any sort of like traditional or any sort of Muslim value system, because they're wholly incompatible. That won't last long. I don't know what people are going to do, if they're going to turn away from the red pill and go the Islam route or what, but that red pill won't survive Islam because they're wholly and fundamentally incompatible. And you saw that with Sneeko versus Fresh and Fit. They even made fun of like the TradCon shit, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's been interesting seeing like kind of the TradCons coming after the red pills now, like the Matt Walsh against Rollo stuff has been super interesting, and like
and all the women.
It's super nice to see, because it feels like a lot of the red pill is trying to basically be like, no guys, trust me, we're conservative too. Like do you think conservatives police their own better more often, or is this just something? It seems very good of them to be policing this, right? Of being like, no, we don't stand for this.
Kind of look like they won, man. Well, not even
do they police their own better? I don't know about that, but I know that like the problem is just that red pill shit is so incompatible with any type of conservative value. I don't know how they survive first contact, and now you're starting to see them bump against each other more. So I guess we'll see ultimately what ends up happening.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting, like listening to like if Matt Walsh goes on like Fresh and Fit, that would be a really interesting interaction, because nothing that they ever talk about is anything that would be compatible with Matt Walsh's worldview of relationship.
True. Yeah.
So is this why? Because you think that the red pill's going to die, basically? Like
I feel like it's going to fall off eventually, because I don't think it works. But I don't know. But we'll see. I could be totally wrong on that. But that's the feeling that I have.
Yeah.
What else should we talk about?
It looked pretty bad.
I feel like so. I didn't know what your position was. I finally watched it today, and I think we basically arrived at the same conclusion. Which is that it's really hard to tell much about a relationship from 3 minutes. But obviously, the video looks bad. Obviously, it looks bad. That's why it's released.
And neither side, especially Crowder, there's a couple aspects that are hard for me, but I know this because of the way that I am. It's very. I think sometimes it can be very attractive to. Well, hold on, fuck. Oh god, 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm just waking up. My brain just fucking completely fried itself. It's hard to tell what's going on in the relationship, but there's still behavior that's being exhibited that's clearly not good.
Unhealthy. Yeah, and
regardless of what, right, yeah, go ahead.
Well, the problem with public perception is you can see something that's toxic and call it toxic, but then when does it become abuse? And that's a much more trickier, I don't know. When do you think toxic behaviors become explicit abuse?
Abuse has become such a common lexicon word that doesn't really mean much anymore. I think people want abuse to be worse than being mean, right? So it seems like today we use abuse to mean really mean. That's what it feels like. In my personal opinion, stuff is abuse, or it rises to the level of abuse where it's really bad when a party has some sort of attachment or power-ish position over the other party such that it compromises their ability to leave. So if I go in a public
situation might actually be indicative. That was the main point.
Or just
why is there only one car? That's strange. But who knows? Maybe they do have 2 cars and it's just weird.
True. But any extended fighting between family members can very quickly rise to the level of abuse, though, even if it's not necessarily super abusive behavior, just because the ability for parties to leave is way different, if I go out to the hallway in my apartment complex and some guy just walks up and slaps me, it's not really abuse, it's some dude being an asshole. But if me or Melina did the exact same type of behavior to each other, well, we're in a relationship, so we have stronger ties to each other, so there's a much higher threshold for pain and fucked up shit before they leave, and I think that's kind of the abuse zone,
Right. Yeah, I feel this is kind of the tricky thing of something can be abusive, but the relationship dynamic may or may not be abusive. An abusive behavior can occur.
Yeah.
Right. And I think in the video we see a couple of behaviors that I would be yeah, these are probably abusive behaviors. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we've now established a pattern. And the problem is privately, I personally I'm not going to be surprised to find out that Stephen Carter's not exactly the best partner. That wouldn't shock me. But
yeah, I think based on what we've seen, it's I think that's the higher probability goes towards that for sure. But that's also an extra special. Everything is extraordinary, right? He's a super huge online figure that probably works more and does a lot. Everything is extraordinary about the relationship too. So it's hard to say definitively,
Yeah, exactly. And I just
clip of us, right?
But I mean, you and I are going to be arguing against people who think it's definitively not abuse. I think, right? It's just
edit clip that I made.
Did you listen to any of my conversation with her about that?
It ain't nothing crazy.
I didn't. No, I listened to clips.
Gotcha. Not so much. Her argument essentially boils down to. Her argument is going to be exactly the same as her father's argument. I already know this for a fact, 1,000,000%. Her argument essentially boils down to things like tone can't be abusive, and that he just wants her to be a better wife, and that's what he's asking for. That's essentially their argument.
I would definitely argue that.
Okay, just
this gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're taking the opposite view of everyone else, where it's 3 minutes is enough to know definitively that it is not abuse. In fact, what he's asking for is reasonable, and she might be the abuser.
Exactly. Yes. Actually, yes. You're saying that sarcastically, that is exactly going to be their position. Yeah. That she's probably the one that's abusive because she's trying to be conflict avoidant, and that he's probably just trying to solve problems in the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Thorpes being? I think Darius mentioned. I think Darius was talking about this. I didn't catch what you guys were originally talking about, but how do you feel about the Thorpes being in the space in general?
You can't hear me?
Whatever you are comfortable saying, I guess.
Yeah, I'll say whatever. I mean, I've already been pretty public about it. I mean, I've had my huge conversations with them both now. I mean, I always say I think the dynamic is super not good.
I said we need to get you some Bluetooth headphones.
But I mean, it's very interesting. So that's about where my interest starts to stop. Yeah. It was interesting at least. But I mean, now they're fixtures. They argue with people.
Yeah, because if you get some Bluetooth,
I can understand people being uncomfortable with them being there. But I guess what does that mean? Are we to expel people from the space if we feel like the dynamic is unhealthy, or what is the standard by which you would excise those people from the space if you wanted to? I'm curious what somebody would say to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem is that like every single person's going to have a subjective feeling about like what is
Alright, so I did
exercisable,
this one already.
and they are
This is
not
what
going
I
to
have to
maintain
do,
that
man.
line
That's
as
why
soon
I'm
as money is
running
offered.
aimlessly.
Yeah.
Probably 80% of the time, anyways.
Yeah.
Which is super cringe. Did you see though the video with like the dad like encouraging her to like do like sexy dancing for the chat and stuff like that?
I think I did, yeah. I had like a 1 to 3 hour conversation last night with both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm basing most of my stuff on. But I watched a lot of parts of that video. I don't know if I got through the whole thing or not, but then I've also seen a lot of other clips and stuff too. I think I have a pretty good understanding of of like the worst stuff that has been online of them, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, that makes sense.
Why? What do you feel? Share your thoughts. What do you think?
About the Thorpes?
Sure, or about them being in the space or whatever, yeah.
It's always this weird tension that I have in the space constantly
So what do you think
that I
about
haven't
the AI
fully solved,
stuff?
which is like
it weird to you?
what do I do about people that I think are like probably
the
toxic,
AI?
unhealthy,
Are you
and the
against
space is
it?
like
Are you against like
capitalizing
AI
off of it?
How they make
Yes.
it artists,
Yeah.
you know, AI artists constantly.
what do I do about that? I don't tell people what to do with their platforms. That's like a really hard rule. I have like people get to do whatever they want.
Sure,
but I don't know what I want to do about it.
Yeah, I'm asking, what do you think should be done though? Like in your ideal world, like what do you think, or what do you think is the moral or ethical thing? Obviously, you think people should do whatever they want. Yeah, boring. We know, we got that. What do you think was the right thing to do though?
Oof, you just want me to get some salacious talking points right before I debate these people. You
Well,
know
no,
that
I'm just curious what your actual
you know
thoughts
that
are.
they're listening and they're going to be like, so Erudite, you think that we're bad and we
Okay,
shouldn't be
I mean,
platformed.
They
or
literally
something.
both screamed at me last night for trying to out them or whatever, so that we're already going in like very heated. So
Okay. Well, something about their dynamic between Grace and Ben
I think they should do
specifically
something
gives
about-
me like major
don't.
ick.
Ah, you
I
said
think they
that
should
word.
do
God, why is
something
everybody saying
about
that
it,
fucking
for
word now?
sure.
But yeah, okay. It's like the new fight. It's like the female
Yeah,
word
there
of the
should be
week.
some
Is that
laws
fucking
in
Yeah,
place.
I'm a white girl.
Yeah,
Eat it.
clearly, I
Eat
see
it.
that. Yeah, okay.
Destiny,
Because
okay? It is what it is.
If I'm an
Yeah,
artist,
I don't know.
and then I see AI
their
more,
dynamic
right? Let's
feels
say my
really
artist,
pernicious.
You know, my artist name is more.
By like
and then now
the group
there's
that I
all
care
these
most about
albums
working with is like
coming out
high risk youth
made
and teens.
AI.
I know.
with AI.
And
yeah,
I have a really
I'll be
hard time
hot.
watching
I'll
like
be
the
pretty hot about
parental
that.
dynamic between
Yeah.
the two. I know that she's not a teen anymore. I believe she's an
it's
adult
not
and stuff
them
like that. So I
making it,
understand.
it's me.
She's
It's my
19,
name,
right?
it's
18,
my
19?
She's
skill,
20,
it's
but
my,
she's
you know?
been kind of like with
I
him since she
understand.
was like 14 or 15,
and
basically,
it's-
right?
I know. I'm just putting the caveat of like I'm aware that she's technically legal, so I'm not
It
saying
sounds
Sure.
enough
like
like
Jesus
him
Christ, we don't have to
that
phrase it that way.
he
My
would
God.
be,
But okay, I was everything.
Yeah.
You're talking to
They're
me, though, so
dynamic.
everybody to me
About
under
like
30 is a child.
Kendrick
Wait, how old are you
Lamar
again?
Or somebody.
I'm 29.
That-
Yeah, everybody under
stature,
29 to me is a
Rihanna,
child, so, you know,
Drake,
you're all good.
Kanye.
You're all good. We're all good calling them kids
That
here.
is very
Wait,
disrespectful
so
to
am I a
them
child
as
here?
artists.
No, I
because
just said under 29.
Let's say
Oh,
it
under
takes,
20. Oh, so I'm good.
Yeah,
when you
you're
got like
good.
a Schoolboy Q or a Kendrick, it takes
good.
them
All right, I don't need to
2 years to
delete all
make
of
it
our
out.
DMs. That's
They
good
don't
to
just
know.
make it
Yeah.
out.
Did you ever read? I'm so curious.
But then you got-
Ayla has some article that she's written
know,
called
then you
Frame
got,
Control. Have you ever read that article before?
Yeah, I read
10
like
albums that come out
probably
from
50%
AI
of it. I thought it was
them.
super interesting.
Uh-huh.
I really, really
And
liked
it's
it.
like,
I think it's an
dang,
attempt to
people are
put to
gonna automatically tune
paper,
into
like
that
word to
shit
paper, to
because,
describe the weird ways that people can kind
the
of like.
mind fucking.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I thought it was brilliant because like I thought of every one of the kids that I've worked with have been like, oh my gosh, this is such a good way to
that
explain
fucking pissed me off so
why
bad.
these
Oh my
dynamics
fucking
are
God, I
so
gotta go.
pernicious and like lead to so many like complicated psychological effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did read it. It was super
me the fuck
interesting.
off.
And so like in the Grace Ben dynamic, I can't get away from seeing that. But the problem is that like now you're in a public space, right? Like if I'm working professionally or I'm just like a private citizen individual, I can like have these thoughts and feelings and kind of be like, yeah, hey, there's some weird sussy shit, and I don't know like how healthy that relationship is. But now in like a public dynamic, there's like this tension of like how much is performative.
They have
So
already.
they love the Schrodinger's
Unfortunately.
meme of being like, oh, it's all just
I
yokes.
can't stop
all just
listening to AI
yoking.
Drake.
And it's just like, how much of it actually is yoking? And even if it is just yokes, probably still isn't appropriate at times.
I mean, apparently there are like criminal records for these people and stuff, so it's not, if it's yokes, they're very, very, very committed to the act.
I didn't know about that. What are the criminal records?
Ah, fuck, I should have looked these up. But I think that dad got arrested once for something related to, was it like assault and battery or something? Or some domestic dispute? There are a couple criminal records I've been linked, some for like delinquent payments on apartments and dumb shit, but yeah, I'd have to check.
Yeah, and so like I don't know, it's really, especially when you have like an individual, like say we like take the worst case and we believe that like Grace is like the victim of like basically long-term domestic and like familial abuse or like whatever like that. It's really hard to talk to the individuals when they're 20 now, but they're still in it. So like say we assume the worst case scenario, and I'm not saying that this is true obviously. It's Grace's thoughts and feelings about the situation still matter to some extent. And so you get into these like really dicey situations. I remember I had a client who was like basically pimped by her boyfriend for 3 years straight. And for the first year and a half, no social worker could do anything about it because she just like
because
was
as
on
an artist,
his side, even though he was like physically assaulting her. Like it was an awful, horrible, like extreme situation.
Cool.
And there was nothing anybody could do. So that by the
How
time,
do they get ownership
like,
of that?
unfortunately, because she kept defending him originally, by the time she was trying to get out, there were so many cases where like charges were attempted to be filed and then she redacted it. That now like the police like weren't really buying into her story because she had been like denying it for so long. And so it just like creates this like super mindfucking situation.
A fake album.
Something not the society is not ready to deal with. Like professionals barely know how to deal with this, let alone like fucking social media.
Something that I thought was really interesting. I did a lot of research for going over the Andrew Tate stuff, just like on sex trafficking and pimping and everything in general. And it feels like there's a lot of crossover between how pimps operate and how people in abusive relationships operate. And that when people imagine abusive relationships, they typically think of things as just being horrible and bad all the time. But that doesn't work, because if that was the case, then nobody would stay in an abusive relationship and just leave.
So
that the highs and lows or the abuser identifying some really key thing that the abusee, the victim, is lacking and being able to fulfill those needs some of the times is like the most important part to keeping somebody sticking around in those relationships.
Christmas albums and shit,
right. Well, they target individuals who, by and large, have been completely, wholly, and utterly neglected by society. They usually target people whose parents were awful, and so even if somebody is just nice 30% of the time, for those people, that's 30% more kindness than they've ever experienced. Right? Like that's like the sad, tragic reality. Really interesting stuff that like would come up like in my addiction work was like we had to do a lot of grief work with clients about leaving their abusive exes.
And that is insane.
And their drug of choice. There's like mixed grief in both of these things.
Like what you're saying.
And one of the biggest predictors of like whether or not clients would relapse is whether or not they went back to their abusive ex-boyfriend, which was occurred like
it's a reality
at an insanely high rate, right? And so like that's what like makes all these like situations so much more complicated, is that like when you're trying to determine, professionally especially, whether abuse is occurring, you have to both simultaneously take the victim at their word and not at their word, right? And like in all directions, right? So you have to both believe them when they say that things are bad, but then when they're saying things aren't bad, you have to try to look in and verify, like, okay, are they actually not bad now? Has he actually gone to anger management and improved? Or are you just saying that? Are you just in the honeymoon phase? And social media is just not, obviously, at all ready to, I mean, nobody has, I don't know. I've been mind blown with like the level of like my normie brain has been blown. Not that I'm a normie really anymore, but I've like people's inability to like interact with complicated, sophisticated social interactions well.
Sure.
Such as the Stephen Carter situation.
Yeah, I really wonder sometimes. It's hard because I have to maintain firmness in my beliefs while also being receptive to being wrong. Because like a lot of people will say things like very common people say things like, oh, like these types of fights never happen. Things will never look this way. This is totally abnormal. And like I can think of a lot of situations where I've seen fights like this. Not necessarily as bad as the Crowder ones, but then I kind of have to wonder, well, do people not realize what they look like at their worst, and they're dramatically like overrating like what they think their fights look like, or is it just the case that I've just ran into like insane situation after insane situation all throughout my life, and I have no idea what like normal conflict resolution looks like? Yeah, and then I think to like all the millennials and everybody I know, it's funny. I always think back to this whenever people are talking to like porn stars and shit. They always say like, oh, like porn stars come from broken families and they've got a lot of issues with their parents. And it's like, I'm a millennial. I feel like every single person I know has a lot of issues with their parents. Like, it's pretty rare that people are like, oh yeah, if I ask somebody like, oh, what's like your family and everything, like, oh, I love my mom and dad, we get along super well and everything went great. That feels like a very minority answer. Like I don't hear that very often. Even if that is the majority answer, I don't hear it very often, you know?
Right, and that's probably caused by two things, which is like I do think that people like with common experiences collect together, and so like the person you're more likely to be drawn to worldview wise, even if you don't realize it, might be because like, right, I look at my friends, almost all of my friends have a really messed up relationship with their parents, except for literally one of my best friends. Like only one of like 5 girls that I'm really, really close to.
Sure.
But when I was working at like the treatment center, I met like 8 staff that spent every weekend with their parents and had an excellent relationship. And I was like, wait, like these people do exist. But the problem is that like when I talk to them, I don't know, there's no common language, right? Like if I make an edgy joke about like my parents being messed up or something, they just think it's weird and they're like uncomfortable and they're like, haha, yeah. So there's probably selection bias going on, but also there's like the creep of like, we're realizing more and more of what unhealthy parenting looks like. But also as like the world gets better, unhealthy parenting, like the bar for what is considered unhealthy is steadily increasing as well. At least I think so. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because we're being judged like every single individual moment now is being seen under a microscope. So whereas before we might have had a little bit more tolerance or wiggle room for some unhealthy behavior, now any unhealthy behavior is being used to define an entire relationship because it's being like publicized and thrown online and everything.
You have to make music.
Yeah, but also the world's just getting better, and so like when the world, like well, not the whole world, but like North America, like our crime rates are decreasing. So like when everything in society is steadily increasing, the bar for like what is now considered unhealthy is probably higher than it was in like the 40s, because in the 40s there was like questions about like, you know, the Maslow's needs questions of like home and food, not as much as like the 40s.
I can send you a new song that I just
yeah.
seen on my feed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Sometimes I just quoted this the other day. Do you remember The Dark Knight Rises when Bane says to Batman, like, victory has defeated you?
He out this bitch.
Yeah,
and his
yeah,
shit
I wonder
all
sometimes
flames.
that about a lot of our social problems, where we're kind of like victims of our own success. Like the biggest things we're dealing with right now are our trans issues, and it's like the end of the world because of that. But in reality, like maybe that means it's because we've gotten past so many other types of things that now this has become. It sounds bad, but we have like the luxury to fix it on these problems, you know.
Guns.
Yeah, that's just super interesting. I was talking about this. I wasn't connecting to this thought, but I wonder if you think that they're related. I was talking to my chat the other day about like extremes, because they're like, why does everyone just always have to talk about extremes? And I'm like, that's because like mostly we've figured out all the stuff in between. Like we've got a fair bit of consensus about like, yeah, you should like probably let private individuals mostly do what they want, but also probably don't shit. And it's only like extreme circumstances that are still like super gray and you don't really know what to do with.
Yeah, this is generally what I say about things related to like feminism and everything, right? Like when people say like feminism is run its course, I mean to some extent they're kind of right. Like we don't really have people saying that like, you're a woman, you can't do math and science. Like those people don't really exist anymore. Now the ways that these manifest are far more subtly, and they require a more subtle approach, right? It's one of the reasons why I get really mad. Like we're not really truly lynching black people in the United States anymore. That doesn't really happen. Even as the KKK was falling, the amount of lynchings were like in the double digits or single digits in some of their later years of being the most active. Like, so that's more or less solved. So then we talk about things like systemic or structural racism, which is good, but now people's conceptions of systemic or structural racism are like, oh, all of the cops individually are each racist. And it's like, well, that's probably not true, right? That's not even what systemic racism means, but like we've got this very crude and rudimentary definition of it because we're trying to like, I don't know, think it's as bad as it used to be 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years ago. And yeah.
Do you think though that like it's possible that we're somewhat like rolling back on stuff? Like when I see like I don't really think that Pearl is as like going to be effective in the zeitgeist as like some people are worried that she will, right? Because she's like the one championing things like women shouldn't vote, like really like women are worse at math and science. Like she has those takes.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's going to become more popularized, or do you think that that's just like
put the gloves on, bitch? Since you want to look like. Let's say put the gloves on since you trying to look like me. Your bitch ass. With your bitch ass.
I want you to touch on that, elaborate and touch on that red pill for me one more thing. Like, what's up with this red pill thing?
So, hey yo, he just really bit Ashley, yo. His dog is ruthless. Well, red pill is basically an ideology of people, men.
Gonna be over pretty quick.
I would say discussing.
But you think there's a shift, a snap right that's occurring, essentially?
Maybe like a little bit, but I don't think. I would be surprised if it was like a huge thing that's like here to stay. But I guess we'll find out, huh?
Right. What do you think would be required in like American's democratic system for like a major snap right to occur?
Becoming successful.
I feel like challenging people's like very fundamental epistemic beliefs will do it. I think like the trend stuff has the capability of breaking people's minds because some of the ways that that's being pushed are so extreme that it's going to cause. Actually, you know what? I think the biggest thing that will cause a snap, I think, would be a platform like Rumble or Kick getting big. Because right now, even though conservatives have ideas that are not like really mainstream-ish, like, and when I say mainstream, I mean like not accepted on the social media platforms, they don't really have a place to gather and express those. But I think that if a platform like Rumble or Kick starts growing and now conservatives have a place where they can go make a living, start doing a lot of content, and it's not just hidden or tucked away where nobody can see it, I think that's going to cause, when that moment happens, it's going to be a really rapid acceleration in crazy opposite directions. Because because now they're going to have a safe space, they're going to have a hiding more, and it's going to get insane, I think.
Like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the constant question I have in the back of my mind, which is like did the left win this? Like, the left did win the culture war, but did they win it because they won it, or did they win it because they like shut everyone up who disagreed with them?
Yeah, that
and, like,
one.
It's probably well, it's probably a bit of both. But the problem is like, how much did we shut up, and like, if they finally like figure out their shit to like let their kids do art.
People
like
really
what?
Going by that, like living
I think,
by it.
Yeah, I think really, the issue too is that. God, did you watch Lance on Tim Pool? Yeah, like there's an issue that you run into.
Did I sign up for Made immediately after? Yes, I did.
There's an issue that people are running into where like the conversations are so like in their own bubbles right now that when people try to step outside of their bubbles and have those conversations, it's agonizing. And watching Lance like die in that conversation so many different times, it like became so obvious that he's never spoken to anybody with even like a bit of disagreement with him in his entire life. Jesus, that was insane to watch.
Yeah, it was a really good example of like what happens when you like in group so hard that you like forget that an out group even exists. And you like circle jerk yourself into positions that are like,
he's not just the only one.
Like when he said a woman is an adult human female, I just
and you know the saddest thing is that he rehearsed that. You know, he was really excited to go in on that too, right? Because he was drinking water, he leaned over, he raised his head, and then he like put his hand up and he was like, "Oh, I can answer that." And it was like, "Oh God."
It's just weird because
I think that's like so. I was in a debate the other day. It was like much smaller, but it was a debate where like we were talking, of course, inevitably is about politics, which means it was only about trans people because that's all politics is today. And it like they were talking about basically gender affirming care and whether things like a breast surgery for a cis woman is like gender affirming care. And I was like, I feel like we should really separate these things. Like,
like it is in a way it's gender
affirming. Yeah, but
in a way it's gender affirming.
When we say gender affirming care, not in the way we mean politically.
Yeah, not to a different gender, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so what happened is that I was fighting like the leftoids and like the left-leaning people and the right-leaning people because they were all just agreeing that gender shouldn't exist. That like at all, gender should just be eroded. Everything's the same. Like it was just insane. Like the leftoids were just agreeing with the conservatives that gender affirming care basically should be for anyone, including cis people, and it doesn't like matter. It was just wild.
Yeah, they were basically taking the trans stuff and turning it into like a cosmetic discussion, essentially.
Yes, literally. They're like, it's just an aesthetic, and then it's like, then it's not care. It's like
cosmetic surgery. Yeah,
we don't say cosmetic care, right? If I want to get my tits done, that's fine, but that doesn't mean that it's like care, even if it makes me feel better about myself.
The thing that's really hard too is that when I go into these conversations now, it almost automatically feels like I'm being bad faith, because now if I bring any arguments related to trans people, I'm truly bringing like a very minority argument that because I think the mainstream position now, I don't know when this happened, how this happened so fast, but I feel like the mainstream position now is self-ID, that anything beyond that is essentially like transphobic, and that I would never ever defend that position. That's one of the most incoherent positions that has ever existed. Like the conservative position of believing trans people are totally fake is more in line with reality than self-ID. And so for that to be the case now, if I go to any conservative to argue, I'm like, oh no, I don't believe in the self-ID thing. It basically sounds like I'm arguing for Stephen Bonnell's unique perspective on trans people, and nothing I say is even relevant to the mainstream conversation. You know?
Anything, it's not 100%.
And at this point, it's like, I don't know. I agree. I'm starting to realize that the mainstream is like viewing this way, and so it's like, I don't know what to do. Do I just like throw my hands up and be like, okay, I guess like, I guess we lost that one. I don't know. I actually have no idea. Like all that happened is that the mainstay progressives just handed the arguments over the conservatives, which is more so the supposed to do. And I guess fair enough. Maybe we should just get rid of trans care ? Not that that's what I want, but I don't know what to do. It's insane.
Yeah.
Although, if a snap right happens, do you think that it would improve society or make things worse? Like, what world do you want to live in? Like a hyper progressive world, or a
you are ready to provide for a family type thing?
It depends on what like a conservative world means. Like if I had to choose between Hassan's world or Ben Shapiro's world, I'm probably going with Shapiro's world right now, because I don't know like how crazy the like ultra progressive shit is at the moment. Because the problem is it's just hard to tell where it stops. Because like they're fully on board with like utilizing violence, they're fully on board with like attack fascists. And it's like, well, who's a fascist? And it's like every single person to the right of Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders isn't even a real socialist, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay,
it's times where I think
it's just really hard. But then I also, it's also here's the really mindful part too, though, is that when you go to Twitter and you go online and you look at the political conversations, the progressives dominate like 80% of the discourse, right? But in reality, the progressives are a very small and politically dead part of the Democratic Party. The Justice Dems have all shifted more towards like Pelosi in the center. They have no political representation whatsoever. Progressives have no political power at all in the United States. But if you go online on Twitter, it seems like they have all the political power, right? Because you can see kind of their policies and social media platforms. Meanwhile, on the Republican side, the Republican Party is actually tearing itself apart under the weight of the Trump fanaticism. It's so interesting to see like how crazy the Republicans are. But then online you go and it looks like, if aliens came to planet Earth and they were on Twitter, they'd be like, I guess like progressives make up like 60% of Congress. Like that's what you would assume. When in reality, there are no progressives almost like in the Senate and maybe in Congress. Yeah.
Well, one of the interesting things, I'm curious what you think. Do you think that, so I would agree about the political stuff. Do you think that economically companies and like YouTube and these types tend to kowtow to the really loud progressive side?
Yeah, but I think it's just because you make a lot of money doing it. Like, it makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you want to be more inclusive, to have, like, bigger and broader audiences for your stuff? Now, some of it gets a little cringy, for sure. But in general, like, yeah, having black people and women and trans people and Indians and Asians and all of that is probably good. It's good. That representation is good. That's, like, one of the good things that progressives push for that I think is fine. I think it's totally okay.
Do you think that, so, like, I would agree about like some inclusivity. I feel like Marvel got really, I could be wrong, maybe I'm just like not understanding. I thought like Marvel's been getting like pretty fucked with some of their like new, like basically once they got onto like the Captain Marvel kind of genre of Marvel, that it's been like less popular, or maybe it's just less popular amongst their old viewers. Maybe that's all that's happening.
I hate that I know so much about superhero shit right now. It's probably what you're saying is true, but anybody that tells you that Marvel right now now is suffering because of woke problems is probably just not a big fan of superhero movies or Marvel.
Yes.
That they just have no idea what they're talking about.
I'll be
they probably
right back.
are casual
I gotta take
watchers
my
or whatever.
son to school,
The
y'all.
problem with Marvel is Marvel built out. Imagine Game of Thrones, okay? And imagine Game of Thrones in season 5 kills off all the Starks, all the Lannisters, and then like takes you to like the east part of the world and just starts all over again with like totally different people that you don't care about, who are all like worse than the original people. That's where Marvel is at right now. The issue is that like they had their whole cinematic universe, and then it built up to these 2 huge movies, and at the end of those movies they killed off a couple of who were like the most favorite characters that the whole universe arguably revolved around, and now they're trying to find their footing with like new heroes. But like we went from like iconic people like Iron Man and Captain America to like Ant-Man and like a Time Wizard dude. And that's like that's the issue. That's the issue I think with Marvel right now. It doesn't have anything to do with the woke shit. Oh, and then also every single person now wants to have like multiverses and everything, which is like changing how much people care about everything. And then you also run into weird threats. I don't know if you ever watched DBZ, but like every like shonen anime runs into this issue eventually where like a main villain can like flick his fingers and destroy the entire world. So it's probably hard to ramp up and build threats again. Like in Iron Man 1, like the really interesting threat was some guy building a really big mech suit. Like that was like, holy shit, he's an awesome mech that's gonna like kill people. That's crazy. But like nowadays, every single threat is like, if this guy gets the right stone, he's not even gonna destroy our universe. He's gonna destroy 27 universes. And you can only scale that type of shit up so far before you're like, okay, this is good.
It's like the Bleach problem, where like by season 3, when you're like killing gods easily, it's like,
yeah, exactly, yeah. Where the
you
f-
your bridges.
Yeah. But
okay, so you think that monetarily, like bowing to the woke, is financially acceptable? Because do you think that the studio that made Everything Everywhere, is it Studio A24?
Yeah, that was an A24 film. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're just like tearing it up. Do you find that they're like super wokey, or because I feel like they do movies in a way that I haven't seen Hollywood do movies in a really long time, and they're like. It's fantastic.
So this is going to sound weird, and it's almost going to be a step back to some extent, but there is a good way to do representation, and that's by having like diversity in your cast and your stories is really, really, really good. And I think everybody likes all of these things more for it, but it's not good when you're like, look at this, look at how diverse this is, look, and you're constantly bringing attention to it. I think that is ultra cringe. But like so in the Everything Everywhere All at Once movie, like the mixing in of like, I think it's Cantonese they speak with English, like these types of things are really cool. They make the movie feel very authentic. They get like Asian actors for all this stuff. Like that's really cool. It feels cool. But there's never like, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's ever a moment in that movie where they're like, oh, I'm so glad we did this because we're Asian and we're better than white people, right? Whereas it feels like a lot of movies today would do that. I think that's one aspect that plays into the success of things that are like more diverse and don't try to like bring attention all the time. A second thing that A24 does really well is, I read an article on this once. Apparently, something that we're missing in America right now is people don't make mid-budget movies very often. And mid-budget movies are like this ultimate sweet spot of both having good effects, having good like presence on camera and everything, but also like having like relatively unique and original stories. So making a movie for like $5 to $20 million is like this cool spot where you're not throwing this huge amount of money, but you've got enough to like make a really cool project, and you get a lot of cool, unique stories that come out of that. These mid-budget movies. But nowadays, everybody wants to make like the $400 million Marvel movies, the massive blockbusters, or it's going to be some indie film with like a 6-figure budget, you know?
Right, and they don't want to give $400 million to an untested story.
Yeah, and they don't need to either. Like I'm pretty sure, like if I look at, so Everything Everywhere All at Once, Wikipedia, like this was probably a larger budget for an A24 movie, would be my guess. And the budget for this movie was like about $15-20 million, you know?
Damn, I didn't realize it was so small comparatively. So I agree. I guess my question is, I think the reason why A24 is in part like so successful, and I hope that they don't get destroyed, is because they've like followed the principle of what like particularly like progressives have been always fighting for. But they're applying the principle, not like the law, right? Where they're not being like, where like a girl walks in like a suit and she's like, my name is Black Captain Woman, and I am a woman who is also black and LGBTQ, and I will stop you. And it's just like, we got it, right? Like it's just so much more natural, where it's just like a normal Asian family. That makes sense. And the Asian daughter is like dating a white girl. All of that makes sense. It's like bringing up LGBTQ issues in a supernatural human way. Which is why I think they're doing it well. And I feel like if we move like the left back in that direction, I feel like it's going to be like so much more powerful, but so much of like this online progressive space, especially, which I think like the culture war is like these types of movies.
Yeah, the online stuff is super cringe. I don't know what to say. I wish I could find these people in real life to like scream at them because holy fucking shit.
The problem is in real life they're not like that. That's like
yeah, maybe, or they'll concede very quickly to how like unreasonable they're being on a lot of points, maybe. But yeah, Jesus Christ, it's just it's gotten a little bit cringe, I'd say.
Are you ready to see your fixer-upper?
I'm trying to grab you by the collar and say, hey, let's live your life.
I think that in order to be grabbed by the collar by either of you, I think you necessarily need a very weak mind. Like I said, I think that for your guys' types of ideology, you're looking for people that are sad, lonely, depressed, they feel like they don't have purpose in life, and then you guys kind of give them a bigger mission to grab onto. It's kind of like ISIS recruitment.
Hold on.
Like, I think that's the goal.
What are we pulling them away from?
You're not pulling them away from a life with purpose. You're finding people that necessarily have none. If they had a life with purpose, they wouldn't be pulled away into stuff like this, obviously, right?
I did not say that they would be a failure.
You really did? Do you want to watch? Do you want?
All I said was,
Can we all watch the clip? Okay. Can somebody link that to my chat? We can evaluate. We'll have these guys.
Hey, hold on. No. I want to pin you down here.
Yeah, I want to pin you down as well. We're gonna watch.
I want to pin you down here.
I know you want to. There's a lot of sexual tension in here.
You get so fucking. Hold on.
If in 2 weeks, Moscow doesn't have people on the ground in Kiev, hasn't taken the city, what are you gonna say? What's the reason for that? I would say.
Hi, Destiny.
Hey, you.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Nick could mod a debate between Haas and Destiny.
Yeah, I'll moderate. Hey, best friend. I'll try not to be biased. I don't know, though. Haas is kind of becoming my best friend now, too.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have a lot in common, huh?
Yeah. We're both epic and
both looking for base societies free of the deep state, free of the phony liberal Jewish complex.
Yes.
What do you think about that, Haas?
I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't really have an issue.
Oh, come on. We're not really talking about anti-Semitism. Just the idea, the fierce allegiance.
No. I mean, okay. Legitimately, I'm going to tell you the truth. I do not think that Jews control America. I don't.
Boo!
No, I don't.
Boo!
I
yeah, they do.
I think it's time to be Anglo-pilled, right? Because if you look at the financial institutions that are in control, and you look at like these actual networks, like you mentioned it, the City of London. I mean, I don't think that. I just don't. It's not my opinion.
I agree. There's a lot of blame to go around. I think the Anglos share a lot of it. But me and Destiny are based because we're both Hispanic. The Anglos, Jews, whatever. It will be us Hispanics that will reconquer America, right, Destiny?
Absolutely. We get in there, we make friends and babies with everybody, and we just have that ability to just get to where we need to be, And then we're like stealth. Nobody knows who we are in society, right? Unless they see our last names. Otherwise,
except for our last names, the dead giveaway.
Travel, Yeah.
Haas, what are you? What's your background? Are you Arab or?
Yeah, just Arab.
Based. Okay, awesome. Are you Muslim?
I'm kind of like non-practicing, so I guess culturally, I guess that's a thing. But yeah, pretty Americanized.
Let's go.
But yeah, I mean, the Destiny guy, I can't really tell. Like, sometimes does he actually work for the government, or does he just kiss the establishment?
Okay, it's not. I don't work for the government. Okay, they just pay me every month not to talk about certain things. All right, there's a difference. Okay.
Destiny, I'm loving that red shirt.
I do feel like these people kind of do have to have a handler, though. Like, can you really just do that for free? For, like, just out of your own plain, like, individual...
I wonder that every time I watch your stream, I'm like, who's funding this crazy dude? But,
We're all such good friends.
You're modding it.
I like Destiny. You really are the mascot of this show. I mean, you got the memo. It's this red theme, politically provoked. It's all red, and you've come on with this delightful red shirt.
What is the red? The brown red? Is there like a meme?
No,
I'm not
I
all
know.
caught up on that.
No political subtext. I'm just saying it's it just fits the format. It's a red theme. The color theme of this show is red, and you've sort of as a mascot brought this wonderful red shirt. Just a compliment. No dog whistle. No anti-Semitic dog whistle there. Just
okay, cool. Thanks. Just
pointing
checking.
it out. Yeah. So hey, so what are you up to, pal?
Brittany signed me up to be here tonight for some fucking reason, and I'm just playing video games, you know?
Well, you came a little bit early, but it's okay.
Well, I heard my two good friends talking with each other. I was just interesting to see them share so much in common, you know?
Yeah, so what's the beef between you guys? Let me try and moderate this.
See, Destiny, he kind of signals anti-establishment because he's not politically correct.
Right.
But
he says nigga.
At the core, Destiny's pretty much an edgy leftist, right?
Leftist or liberal? What do you mean by leftist, sir?
He started to have a really big problem with me because I was covering the Russia stuff, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is dangerous misinformation." You know, all of a sudden he went full leftist, full kind of like, you know, his community was like, "Oh, we got to deplatform this guy. This is really dangerous." And you know, he does the work of the status quo for free, and
so
he just happened to get really butthurt about it.
Yeah, Destiny, what do you have to say to that? How would you respond?
I don't know how much you've heard. So Haas has kind of like his political theory. Haas just like personally hates me because I made a whole bunch of short jokes about it. And
well, hey, we're all short here.
Yeah, but the problem is he has a really hard time like dealing with it. So basically, I'll tweet out a bunch of.
Stalin was short. Our hero, Stalin, was 5.
Yeah, no, I mean, the issue was that we were having a pretty serious debate about the Russia-Ukraine thing, right?
Work at 9 today.
And he started beginning the insult battle, right? And then, like, let me explain it this way, right? If I were to just have ignored it, nobody would have focused on the debate. They would have just focused on the insults. So it's like, you know, you gotta address the nonsense when it's being
you're on my platform now.
I would have preferred to just have a debate.
So the real backstory is we were gonna have a big 2-on-2 debate, and do you know who Zerka is?
No.
Okay, there's another Twitch streamer called Zerka, and it was me and I think it was Dylan Burns versus Haas and another guy called Jackson Hinkle. And so Zerka tells Haas, "Hey, these guys don't respect you. You gotta get loud, otherwise these guys aren't gonna show you any respect." So like in the middle of our relatively, you know, boring milquetoast debate, Haas starts losing it. He starts like screaming, and as he starts to get progressively more upset, my chat
join the lone
like
office of
so like AK-4'7" and shit.
Gregory McConaughey, Dawson III.
And we basically just have this like 2-hour debate where he's like screaming, calling me a cuckloid, just a whole bunch of like crazy nasty stuff, you know, that's above, you know, the platform that we're on right now, of course. But that's essentially since then.
Wait, why are you offended by being called a cuck? I mean, like,
I never said I'm offended.
It's a fair question. It's a fair question.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really.
Isn't that's open public information?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, are you not one?
Not technically. I don't know if you know what that word means, but yeah.
Polyamorous.
It basically just devolved into Haas like screaming at me for like.
Wait, hold on.
It's a really good video if you ever want to go look up that.
Hold on, if I may. I mean, how are you not a cuck?
Well,
valid question.
Are you talking about like the actual like what the word means or like what you want?
Like you're married to someone who you allow to sleep with other men. So
wait, you're married, Destiny?
Yeah, we got married.
You got remarried?
Yeah, remarried. That's true technically.
Or double married. Twice married.
Yeah. You know how us Catholics do, you know? Gotta
keep
making
you're
the babies.
Not Catholic.
Well, I grew up Catholic. Listen.
Are you an athist?
I'm gonna reveal something here, okay? I'm gonna reveal something here I've never said before. I did not get my last divorce annulled, my marriage annulled, so don't tell the Pope. I think that's a big no-no in the Catholic Church. You're supposed to be married. Yeah, but according to Jesus I am. Well,
do you believe in God? Do you believe in God?
Yeah. No, fuck no.
Boo! Why not, Destiny?
Come on now. Okay, listen, boring answers to complex questions are just not entertaining to me. Kind of like you guys over here.
Well, it's kind of a yes or no.
Dreaming about the deep state controlling all the societal problems, and that's the more exciting thing than...
They control Vosh's Burger King diet. By funding it. My tax dollars are funding Impossible Whoppers for Vosh. Well, Destiny... what were we talking about before this fierce debate about the situation?
Yeah, I don't think I was really yelling. I think I just was turning my gain up really high.
Yeah, true. That did happen. I forgot
That
about
was
that.
it's funny. I think it's funny when people turn their gain up and yell.
Yeah,
It was
honestly,
it was funny. It was funny.
Everyone in my chat was telling me, they were like,
"Do I have?"
They're lowering your volume. They're lowering. I was like, okay, I know how they do that. So I went in my Windows settings, and I went to the sound. I just turned it up all the way, and I'm like, okay, now we'll be on a level playing field. But I went back and watched it, and I was like, wow, I was quite loud.
That was the takeaway
what
from that?
What Matt think?
Yeah, I mean,
how many times did you have to unmute yourself in that conversation because the moderator kept trying to mute you while you were screaming at us? Would you say it was like more than 100 times, or?
I mean, it wasn't really that hard. I mean, you know, I don't really know why there had to be a moderator there in the first place.
It's a good question. It seems like they weren't able to keep you quiet, so yeah.
It's true. They can't handle Haas. Haas is a real
based red, an actual American, not one of these political projects.
I think it's pretty clear,
except that he's not white. That's the only. No, kidding. He's real American.
No. I mean, I'm capable of having like a civil conversation, you know. But like when you start the insult thing, you're giving me the green card.
It's true. It's the ad homs. Destiny. You have a real problem with those ad homs. Got to watch the ad homs. Seriously.
I can't help it sometimes, you know.
You got to watch those N words and ad homs. Such a handful.
Yeah. So wait, Nick. Yeah, I want to ask you something because this is something I think about a lot too. Is Destiny gonna keep up this kind of like liberal thing, or what do you think is gonna come of like? Because I don't know. I mean, so like in the cultural end, I think the cuck thing is pretty big, right? It's gonna be hard to become based when you got that going for you. But I kind of wonder, like, is this a new kind of like experiment where it's like you have these edgy liberals who are like, they defend everything the status quo says, they like fight the info war of the deep state or whatever, but they just do it in a dirty way, right?
Yeah.
Like, is he gonna become right wing, or is he gonna stay? Is it gonna be like this new thing of like edgy liberal? And I always think about, what do you think?
I think he will absolutely become red-pilled and a reactionary, and I see him as my future apprentice. It's sort of like when Palpatine said, I have an apprentice far younger and more power, except Destiny's quite old in comparison to me.
Oh yeah, that's why they sold out.
But I see him as sort of this future right-wing killing machine, like a right-wing Wolfenstein killing robot who will destroy all liberals in his path. I don't know. The thing is, on a serious note, I think the big difference is that he's not religious. I think that. And I tend to notice this. There is crossover. There are some Destiny fans that become Groypers. I think there are some Groypers that become Destiny fans. Yeah. And I think the real dividing line is religion. I tend to find that people most susceptible to so-called liberalism
they had to understand
are the people that are not religious.
We went through
and I think that plays a big part in why people are liberal.
We went through things
they are averse
most people
to religion.
Our age don't have to go through.
And I think a lot of that is bound up actually in sex. I think what makes a lot of people atheist is that they have sort of deviant sexual situation, and it's hard to sort of accept morality if your lifestyle is built on sin.
You saying you did?
Yeah.
I don't remember you doing that. Me personally, I don't remember. I don't remember anybody doing it. I don't remember me doing it, you doing it. I don't remember Sierra doing it, Kareem, Sturdy, especially people like Sturdy. And I knew how Sturdy felt. Sturdy told me himself personally. You know what I'm saying? Even Paul didn't do that shit. Like, everybody saying like it went without being said.
No, I think everybody was
cool.
You
got to tell, where everybody was at. But nobody was really like shouting it from the rooftops and being disrespectful about it. So which I actually liked about it. I mean, like at an age, even at a certain age, we all had a certain type of class about ourselves. At least we had some sort of tact. You know what I'm saying? Like we wasn't just rude about it. So, and I always felt like, I know it's gonna come one day. Matt gonna want answers. Matt going eventually we gonna see them again, and I feel like that topic gonna come up. I just hope I got some answers, and I think I do. Next. How you doing, sir? Man, but I'm alright. Yeah, sticking in there. Oh, I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, man. You think you got answers, Chris?
Me?
Yeah.
Answers for what?
Ask you, like, hypothetically, where have you been religiously, mentally? You think that's an answer for him?
Of course.
He might not like it, though.
No, he's not gonna like it, but it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, for me too. I was like, I don't know if you want to open up that can of worms. I don't think it's a conversation you're ready for. But let's talk about it. What the hell we're gonna talk about?
He's gonna be like, ah, my ears, my ears, my ears, my ears.
Hey, girl. How you doing?
My ears, my ears, my ears, my ears. That's what you're gonna say.
Alright, Chris.
Yeah. Huh?
Go sit in the corner, Chris. You're not going to fight yourself.
Let's say you're not going to Preakness.
You know, well, what?
You're no longer allowed to go to Preakness.
You want to go to fight yourself?
I said you are not going to the Catalina wine mixer. You're no longer allowed to go to the Catalina wine mixer.
They'll say you want to fight yourself.
They'll say you trying to go to putt and stuff.
Corey was like, so you want to let nobody play with your pennies for $5,000?
Hey yo, my man Kerwin, no. Of course not. Man, Corey.
James is not here too. James is like, ew, gross.
Ew. Ew.
Ew.
Definitely not.
Why would you let someone stick like you? Like, would you stick your most prized possession in a dumpster?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, we were talking to Kerwin about anal sex. We were like, Kerwin, we never had anal sex before. Kerwin was like, why would you stick your most prized possession in a dumpster? I'm like, because it feels good.
It feels amazing.
It feels amazing.
You don't like that truffle butter? I was like, you know, you gotta tell Kerwin, you don't like that truffle butter?
Okay.
Kerwin, you not into that truffle butter?
Like, you're trying to butter? With some truffle butter.
I was trying to get these shells, these shotgun shells, but I can't find them. So I'm just gonna say forget it. But I'm about to get off of here soon because I gotta get dressed for work. I said I gotta get dressed for work.
You gotta get ready for the work day.
The work. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get 20 signups today too. I got 20 yet.
Don't forget your water. You're gonna need your pH and you're gonna need your alkaline, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna get some water. Don't you worry. I got these Gatorade bottles, so I'm gonna fill them up with water. Water!
I'm about to get some shrimp.
Because I'm not far anyway from the house. I said I'm not far from my house at all. I live close to my house. We was on here for 20 hour. We was on here for an hour and some change, so that's good.
We've been on for 20 hours?
We've been on here for an hour and 20 minutes, which is good. Yeah, so I'm gonna chop this up. Screw, chop. That was the shit. My man said that T-Pain, my man, he said that Drake be making synth music.
Looks like we're still missing.
He did.
This shit had me cracking up. Hey, this motherfucker really be talking about. Welcome, stranger. Alright, y'all, I'm out of here. I'll talk to you later. I'll hit you back. I'll hit you up when I get out the shower and shit. Alright. Alright, brother. Alright, y'all, I'm out of here.